Welcome everyone. Today we're going to share our research project developed as required by the Maestría en Ambientes Bilingües de Aprendizaje, MABA. This project's name is Defining Pedagogical Management Actions for Strengthening the Bilingualism Area Curriculum in a Higher Education Institution in Bogota, and it was developed by Diego Arias and Miguel Sanchez. First of all, we want to tell you about the content that we have for this presentation. We'll start with an introduction and research question. Then we'll continue with general and specific objectives. After that, we'll proceed with a literature review. Then we'll go with the methodology, participants, and data collection instruments. Afterwards, we'll continue with data analysis and the results from the data analysis. And finally, we'll finish with the action plan for the institution and the conclusions for this project. This project was developed at a higher education institution in Bogota, specifically considering the bilingualism program of this institution, which implements a hybrid education model. The identified problem was that the students of this institution do not have the proficiency required by the Colombian bilingualism policy, which establishes a minimum level of B1 or B2 for higher education graduates. But these students, they present a low proficiency results in both institutional and national level tests. For this reason, it was important to identify the possible gaps that the bilingualism program of this institution has and propose some recommendations that could enhance the student's language learning process and try to get closer to the national language proficiency standards. So for this reason, taking into account what we said before, we established the following question: how to articulate the bilingualism program alignments of a higher education institution with pedagogical management to provide actions that contribute to the student's language level proficiency in a hybrid education model. Likewise, here we can see the general and the specific objectives set up for the research. The general objective is to determine contributions through an action plan focused on pedagogical management for the bilingualism program and the students' English language levels improvement in a higher education institution. And then we got the specific objectives, which are first to analyze students' perceptions of their English language process in relation to the pedagogical management of the English program at a higher education institution. The second one is to assess the effectiveness of the English language program's hybrid model, including the use of the virtual platform Alticia at a higher education institution. And finally, to develop recommendations for pedagogical improvements to address identified gaps and better support students' learning.
For our literature review, we define three main constructs. The first one, higher education curriculum with strategic pedagogical management, is defined according to the authors as Aslan Mansour and Wang as a set of steps academic actors take in order to improve educational planning, which means class preparation, development of contents, and evaluation, which represent how students learn and practice the knowledge learned. Of course, in a higher education curriculum, which is intended to prepare students in their professional areas. As a second construct, there is the policy curricular dimension. Part of the needs found, students are not getting the desired level. Then Chang stated how the curriculum for higher education institution needs to understand English as an important part of a student's professional formation. In that way, this process can be achieved with the goals presented in the current bilingualism program designed by Recer. And finally, we have the hybrid education management, which based on these authors that are on the presentation views, it is a teaching method which implements technologies in virtual and in face-to-face modalities, presenting advantages as meaningful content and better students' engagement to knowledge. But at the same time, it presents challenges such as students' connection, class development, timing, and responsive feedback to communicative skills. Therefore, it is important to analyze the virtual platform mediation as a technology tool which has an important role in the student's learning process.
Now, going into the methodology of this study, it's important to mention it was a qualitative research. which according to Creswell focuses on exploring and understanding how individuals or groups perceive and give meaning to specific social or human problems. Besides, this study is a combination of a descriptive and a case study, since this combination allows for a detailed and contextual understanding of the bilingualism program in a higher education model, emphasizing both the what and the how of the phenomenon under study. On your screen, you can observe the steps that we followed to continue with this research. First, we defined the research question, problem, and objectives. After that, we selected a representative sample, the instruments to be applied, and the participants. Then we implemented the selected collecting data instruments. Afterwards, we analyzed the data obtained to interpret the results. And finally, we discussed the results obtained to establish conclusions of the study. When it comes to the participants of the research, we selected them considering the instruments to be applied, as well as the connection with each of the specific objectives. The first group of participants were students of the institution belonging to virtual and face-to-face modalities, as they provided diverse perspectives of the project. The second group of participants were some teachers of the bilingualism area and the coordinator, as they provided diverse perspectives and they had experience teaching in both modalities, more than 3 years working with the institution, and the coordinator gave us insights related to the administrative tasks. The last group of participants were teachers teaching each of the 6 levels of English that the bilingualism area offers.
For collecting the information for this project, we implemented the following three collection instruments. The first one, surveys, which is directly connected to the first specific objective, which intended to know students' perceptions about their English learning process. As a second instrument was implemented semi-structured interviews to teachers, where there was a solid connection with the second specific objective, which was to assess the effectiveness of English language programs hybrid model, including the virtual platform Alticia. And finally, a non-participant class observation, where the purpose was to know in real time how classes are developed and at the same time to develop recommendations for pedagogical improvements.
Now we'll go into the data analysis process of the project. It is important to mention here that we implemented a thematic analysis for analyzing the data, as it allows us to identify patterns in how pedagogical management practices influence the bilingualism program and the students' outcomes. For this analysis, we followed two processes, two steps. First, the deductive process, and second, an inductive process.
In this deductive process, we follow the next three steps. First, based on the main constructs from our literature review, the codes were defined, generating a total of 9 codes. Second, there was a definition and description for each of them based on the literature review. Additionally, the information collected from the instruments was separated for each code. In this way, some codes were fully established and interpreted, which, as a last part of this process, and according to the code's manual, they were modified and joined if they presented common data. On the other hand, the other part of the process was the inductive process, where, as a first step, the collected information was organized from excerpts, and those common excerpts were joined to define emerging codes. And as a last step, those codes were compared and analyzed in order to find common views, getting a total of 11 codes.
Well, after doing this process, we obtained the following categories. Category 1, adapting instructional time and content to cover students' language demands. Category 2, enhancing curriculum through user engagement with Alticia. And Category 3, improving communicative skills and language practice in the classroom. So each of these categories contains two subcategories to mention. And the first one, it has timing and course intensity and curriculum alignment with professional and market needs. For the second category, it has Alticia platform content relevance and engagement and challenges with technology usage in higher education. And for the final category, It has lack of communicative skills integration, as well as comprehensive feedback on the students' language skills.
The first category was garnered from participants' perception about importance of the bilingualism program and curriculum and how this is aligned to professional demands. Additionally, how these perceptions are given due to pedagogical management process as course planning regarding to course intensity. In this order, two subcategories were defined. The first one that you can see there on the screen, timing and course intensity, and in this first step, there is a need from participants to have a better practical and exposure time to English, which according to Racero, having 2 hours a week is not the correct way to fulfill or getting the desired level purpose in the current bilingualism policy and the bilingual alignment of the higher education institution. There is another research, the second one that you can see there, where we could highlight how participants are not only aware of the importance of a minimum of practical hours for improving their English learning, but also on how meaningful the English practicing must be, which according to Samir, it can make on students the feeling on controlling their English processes due to the significant practice in their dailies. The second subcategory that is just on my right was curriculum alignment with professional and market needs, where in this excerpt we can evidence, and based on Collazo, how curriculum must support students' projects mastering their knowledge and making continuous upgrades and adjustments to fit global market needs. And in this way, and how can be seen in the next excerpt, that is just below, no matter how well structured curriculum looks like, it is possible to improve it. And as De La Casillas said, there must be a set of planned actions from academic actors to enhance English learning.
Okay, now for the second category, enhancing curriculum through user engagement with the platform Alticia. Um, it's important to see that in the first subcategory, Alticia platform content relevance and engagement, it provides, while it can provide adaptive learning materials, the students find the platform's lengthy, repetitive tasks overwhelming and disengaging, with a lack of interactivity and real-world relevance. Also, in the subcategory 2, challenges with technology usage in hybrid education, they show that hybrid learning itself faces obstacles such as poor internet connectivity and limited teacher-student interaction, which can obstruct effective learning. So these issues, combined with the autonomy required in hybrid models, can lead to feelings of isolation, and difficulty in language acquisition. So to improve, the platform needs more engaging, interactive content and better support systems to ensure a meaningful and effective learning experience.
And as a last category, we have improving communicative skills and language practice in classroom. In here, it is found recommendations and viewpoints connected to teaching practice, like language and communicative skills, and its importance in developing contextual speaking in classes. In this order, participants expressed how these skills are getting apart from their learning processes, and that includes a lack of significant feedback on their processes as well. Then there is a first subcategory define like communicative skills integration, where in this assert, as you can see, it caused the perception in participants that they don't have the enough time to practice them. Then Racero suggested to include a relevant technology usage, which permits to practice communicative skills and suggests teachers to be more involved in students' practice. Additionally, in the next excerpt, we see suggestions from participants on implementing more communicative skills as contextual speaking and listening. In that way, Shan stated, as long as English it is a dominant language, there must be in teaching practice a priority in dynamism and meaningful practice. And finally, there is a second subcategory called comprehensive feedback on students' language skills. Then this assert Mahmoud and Najat stated the lack of feedback on pronunciation, a very common shortcoming in higher education model. There is necessary to ideate a plan by using technologies, solid and effective feedback for students. Therefore, as an example in this excerpt, there is not a continuous follow on students' learning process. Then De Silva, recommended a continuous evaluation which includes a follow-up to every student, ensuring logical and continuous feedback.
Well, as part of our general objective and research question, we want to provide some actions that will be suggested to the study institution so that it can be implemented. It can implement them in order to contribute to improve the students' level of proficiency. These actions are focused on these important aspects of the pedagogical management. The aspects are curricular planning, curricular implementation by the teachers, and evaluation process within a hybrid model. Here you can observe that for the curricular planning aspect, we suggest that the bilingualism area update the PACs, Planes Analíticos de Cursos, adapt the current syllabus, and reassess the number of lessons. Related to the second aspect, curricular implementation by the teachers, this area could enhance the practice of communicative skills, promote the implementation of effective feedback, and include the adapted contents to catch interests of the students. And finally, for the evaluation process within hybrid model aspect, we suggest that this area consider reducing the evaluation percentages of the platform Alticia and also designs and develops additional tests. Now it's time to let you know the conclusions obtained from analyzing the data. Here you can see the interesting findings and contributions that we consider this project could provide. In the interesting findings are related to the results gotten for the data analysis. We could see that the instructional time and syllabus contents do not align with the students' language demands. The current platform do not fulfill students' needs properly and should promote a more engaging and effective learning experience. There is a lack of integration of communicative skills in the classroom as well as poor constructive feedback, as well as evaluation percentages are not balanced within the learning environment. And if we talk about contributions of this project, we established that this project recognizes the importance of aligning syllabus content with students' academic and professional realities. It also recommends increasing concurrent instruction hours, particularly for communicative skills like listening and speaking. It reevaluates the role of technological platforms to enhance learning experience, and it highlights the importance of training educators in communicative skills and the delivery of effective feedback.
We also found the next limitations, such complication on fitting time with teachers and classes observations. Fortunately, they could be solved by making agreement with stakeholders involved. Additionally, most of visual students did not complete the service on time, so the delay causes an extension of the deadline and to be able to analyze this information.
Finally, these are some suggestions for further research to be conducted. We suggest that in future research, they could explore how English curricula can be designed to reflect students' academic and professional realities across various disciplines. Also, further research can examine how different technological tools different from Alticia can enhance the bilingual learning process. Also, further research could investigate the role of student motivation and perceptions in bilingual hybrid education models. And finally, further research, they could focus on possible teaching approaches that focus on the development of communicative skills, particularly speaking and listening in hybrid learning environments.
Finally, there is the reference list we used to develop this research process. Thanks so much for your attention.
Thank you very much.